Welcome into the Cafe Nightly Show. I'm your host, the Goldsmith. It is the 12th. Wow, I was going to say the 11th, and I was going to be wrong. It is the 12th of June, 2024. Tried to get back to yesterday, but just like youth, you can't get back. Upland in the news today. We'll talk about something that has a little bit of. Oh my gosh! Don't you do? All right. It was some things that have some priority here. As far as items coming up that a little bit of history on. I get into the details here as far as Upland in the news and what that looks like. And it is kind of exciting to see it because when we see Upland from a major broadcaster or a major journal, I mean, I'd love to be considered a major broadcaster, but we see it from other outside of Upland news areas, news zones. It is exciting to see it, especially when it's in a positive light. We have Upland live stream going on today. I want to keep focusing on these live streams when they happen because it's really nice to have a light up Dan back and see these live streams back. This is something that a lot of people enjoyed. They went away. Now that they're back, now that Upland is using Twitter Live, thank you so much, Cheese, for suggesting to the team that we use Twitter more for video engagement. And because that's happening now, it is something that is, A, there's a lot of participation that we're seeing in that already. And B, it is a really cool function and potential continued feature in Upland I want to highlight because it is very cool and very powerful when we talk about the idea of connection. So we'll talk about that in a little more detail. And again, let's keep our eye on it. If it's something you don't participate in, haven't gotten the chance, I personally don't get a chance to do it live. It's nice that it's as easy to access as it is for recorded. And then, of course, if you can make it live, that's where the fun happens. When you make it live, you can participate in races. You could comment. There's a lot you can do if you can make it live to those events. And then, of course, we're going to look at some Upland Twitter posts. That means we didn't have a lot of news directly in Layer 1 Upland today. That's fine. Like I said, there's some nice topics to touch on. It lets us, I keep getting that background peeking up in the back. It lets us, focus on the fact that, we do have things that are ongoing in the Upland sphere without looking specifically at the daily updates, a new contest, a new city release. I will remind you, I did do this yesterday, but I will remind people that Friday we do have a collection reveal for Bermuda. So, kind of consider that. Keep that in mind. We do have passes that open up on Friday. More if we'll get our properties after a snapshot on Friday. We'll do that reminder as well. But for today, not a lot of big new news in Upland. So let's look at some stuff that are outside of Upland that ties everything back together. All views and opinions expressed by myself, they're mine and mine alone. Should we take as game strategy advice? Should we take it as financial advice? Does not represent the game or the team of Upland. Pretty easy disclaimer out of the way, except I'll drop it in just in case we have anything to read from comments from other Uplanders. All views and opinions of those who do make comments. Those who are contributors, they're theirs and theirs alone. They represent myself, the Goldsmith, the Cafe Nightly Show, the game of Upland, the team of Upland. Should we take as game strategy or financial advice? Good to see you, Dog Romy. I'm glad you are here. So pretty easy pieces and bits to touch on. But again, some key things to keep keep our eyes on. First and foremost, I like to look at when there is an official announcement or there's an official article from a relatively large news source that features Upland, and especially if it features Upland positively. If it features Upland negatively, are there cogent points? Are there points worth considering? Sure, I'd love to see those points worth considering. I've seen a lot of posts about Upland that, as somebody who plays Upland, they are factually incorrect. They misstate things and they say things wrong, and it's obviously they haven't gotten into the game, or they're stating facts that are old or incorrect, or that are coming from a segment of bias, or even that are 5 years old. So it is nice. It is very nice to see things that are factually correct. And for the most part, this article was factually correct. We'll take a quick look at it. Upland did retweet it. That's how it comes across. And it's something I end up seeing. So I will take a quick look and we'll look at it together. So we're going to share our screen, take a look over here. Look at the other hand is doing. You can do it. Wow. Streaming is not working at the moment, but I will go and cheat. We will get this back over here. We'll go look at this. We'll go at this. There, that's what we're going to share. Boof. Well, you're not working over here, StreamYard. We'll try this one more time. Never had StreamYard try to work this or try to crash this hard on me before. Let's see if we can get it to work. There we go. Oh, look at that. Wow, we made it work. Good job, StreamYard. I knew you had it in you. All right. So this is kind of fun. Unifying the metaverse, why it needs to be done. This is a article that is from the street. Some organization, or it is an organization we've discussed before, in that they've done a direct profile piece with Dirk about Upland. And the street is, as I mentioned, it is a real economic forum. It is a real piece of journalism, or it's a real journal about economics. And they do get into crypto. They do get into some of the metaverse here as well. But and innovation in the economic space. But it is a real economic, real stock tips of stock investing, real financial planning type journal where serious people who don't wear orange glasses go to read about what's going on with their 401ks. So it is interesting. It is fun to see what they have to say about Upland. So here we go, unifying the metaverse, why it needs to be done and done soon. So basically, let's take a look at the premise of the article up front, and then I want to skip right ahead to what is said about Upland in this article and look at it verbatim and see how it reflects on Upland, A, and B, see what's going on as far as the indication and implications of looking at Upland from the outside alongside this concept that is bringing together multiple metaverse groups and having the metaverse itself unify and kind of codify itself at this time before it's too late. Unifying the metaverse, why it needs to be done and done soon. One of the biggest challenges of the metaverse is the lack of unified technical standards. Interoperability requires common protocols and standards that allow different virtual environments and systems to communicate and function together seamlessly. That is the way for the union of the metaverse to become all it could be. So again, metaverse, when we talk about metaverse, we're usually talking about Web3 in general. This idea of being able to have an interconnected node-based peer-to-peer type internet where there can be transactions, but it's not written between going and looking at a site that's putting out there. It's this interaction between these multiple sites, the ability to do so, and that we can move our assets peer to peer or from ecosystem to ecosystem and bring those same assets and that same communication, that same standards or similar standards between multiple environments. And again, that's something that Upland's talked about. The OMA 3 is what we talked about. We talked about species.org. These are important initiatives that Upland is a part of. We're not talking mostly about that in this article. There are some other unifications that are being discussed. This idea, this concept of the competing business models versus the unification versus what can be done in bringing these multiple systems together. And we do have many companies who've been working on this legitimately, large companies that have gone and tried to start looking at the Metaverse Standards Forum and starting to put together this idea of what can be put together, what can be together, what can be done common. We have Google, we have NVIDIA, we have Microsoft, Nokia, Sony, and Samsung, and many others in this initiative to put things together. OMA 3 is its own initiative. That's these metaverses that actually exist right now. When we talk about these other large companies, they're trying to get definitions so they can build these unified standards and then build from there. Instead, there's already people who are doing it. There's already companies that are doing it. There's the Sandbox, there's Upland, there's Essential. There's multiple companies that are already doing it, trying to work together again with OMA 3 standards to try to make the interoperability work as well before it all gets, or as it's all getting built out. And of course, we have these other protocols here, the Metaverse Standards Forum, where they're trying to build some of those standards before those major functionalities are even built elsewhere. And again, there's a lot here with the idea and the value of being able to have interoperability between multiple standards, between multiple locations, that have some type of common standards or compatible standards, so that if you have an asset in one place, it has operability in another. So it's interoperable between multiple or most systems anyways. And then I don't know why they had this whole section about Mark Zuckerberg, because that guy focused on metaverse as though the feet are the most important thing, as opposed to the assets or the interoperability or the idea of UGC, the idea of individuals having some type of parlance into the ecosystem, some type of connection and control over assets. Focus on the feet. That's the idea of how you crash a metaverse, if you ask me. But we do have a lot of legitimate companies working together, trying to work together to build out the metaverse. And wait, we're gonna find one. We get down here far enough. We get to creating the metaverse. We're getting down here. We're almost here. Oh my gosh, there's a big one. Oh, there's a couple companies that are mentioned in between here. We can go touch on them that Microsoft is building out, or already has built out Minecraft, which is being considered part of the metaverse, or has been looked at as part of expanding metaverse. The interoperability clause, or there being an interoperability between Minecraft and other sources, and how NFTs are involved. There's been kind of that argument of whether or not that's going to fall under the traditional idea of what we're trying to build out in metaverses with interoperability and blockchain codification. That's been a little bit of an argument. There's some potential movement there. Big company, Microsoft, Minecraft, big project, something a lot of people know about and already are familiar with. There's obviously a lot of other companies that have been integrating other digital asset staking, which may or may not be direct blockchain written, but they do exist out there as well. So there's a lot of these large companies that are involved. But wait, let's look at a big standout in the actual metaverse space. One standout initiative that has implemented a sophisticated economic model along with digital replicas of major cities like New York, Miami, and Rio is Upland. Ooh, look at this. More than just a gaming platform, Upland serves as a metaverse where users can engage in play, socialize, and even earn an income. It's a genuine digital open economy that combines real-world elements with virtual experiences crafted to be user-friendly for all. I need better glasses. I need better eyes. I need less light that's causing glare, regardless of their level or technical skill. Upland's economic system mirrors some aspects of the real-world economies. This virtual marketplace allows participants to buy, sell, and trade goods, leveraging a unified currency, Spark. UPEX isn't mentioned here, but don't worry about that. While following a set framework of rules, the term open in this context not only refers to its traditional trade flow, but also to the potential for interactions with external economies. Woo! We're not there yet, but some external economies obviously are going to have some play. I mean, technically, you could say the U.S. dollar is an external economy. Bringing in and out of the game, people being able to cash out and cash in. Yeah. Maybe that would count. But realistically, we're going to have some tighter tie with other external economies when the Sparklet becomes listed. Again, because you can trade a currency from Upland outside of Upland, affecting the value of a currency that's used heavily inside the game. In fact, while the digital aspect of Upland sets it apart from the physical, 88% of the community approved a white paper proposal last year to enable currency exchange of its in-game utility token for Upland's real-world crypto token. Whoop, whoop. I guess the difference between a real-world crypto token is a token that exists outside of Upland, and it's not just a plaything. I think they're considering Sparklet inside the game of Upland as a plaything. It's a locked currency. I guess that's kind of true. But again, real-world crypto token, a token that is going to exist outside of Upland, that's going to be exchangeable, real-time token with, again, crypto as a crypto with exchangeability, being able to have trading pairs, being able to be exchanged outside of Upland. Yeah, very exciting. And that is Sparklet. And we know, not from the article, but from experience, that Upland's working on this towards the end of the summer of 2024. At least if you were at Genesis Live, or if you watched the video. This was great. This is one of the videos that Upland put out. That promotional video that said Paris is coming, and said Sparklet end of summer 2024 ? Those both are on one video, quick video, with minute 7, I think, something really short. that's out there that Upland has put out and posted. So if you didn't go to Genesis Live 2024, you didn't go to the live event, you still can watch that exact same video. All right, easy. And of course, that is a big step, and that's right from the article right here. That is a big step. Yeah, it is. The ecosystems, established digital economy, and global settings are highly engaging, involving dozens of international cities. That's true. Dozens? Yeah, I guess if you include the U.S. and the international, you could call them all international and say there's dozens of cities. That's true. With a natural currency bridge being built to the real world. Yeah, you can take money in, you can take money out. This is an idealized model by all metrics. Maybe. Imagine if the entire metaverse was fully integrated and every environment had to match this level of sophistication. Wow! So that sounds like the article, the writer, the author of the article is kind of saying they don't think that the rest of the metaverse can keep up. Well, I don't disagree, but I think it's setting a high standard. I would like that to be the case, though. I'd like to be the case, but yes, absolutely. There's other parts of the metaverse that may operate differently, but having that open economy in Upland, having the interoperability, I think is going to be huge for the game moving forward. There's a bevy of benefits for open metaverse. We'll just touch on this because, again, this is a big theory. This has been a big part of a lot of what Dirk and the OMA 3 have been doing over the last 2 years, is trying to really focus on how important it is to have those ties, those connections between these metaverse platforms. I use the word metaverse platforms. You hear here in this article where they call them metaverses. I don't like to use that term to say this is a metaverse, this is a metaverse, this is a metaverse, because like the theory of unified metaverse theory, which says there's one metaverse, there's multiple metaverse platforms that all tie within it. If you're tied to the metaverse, it means you are not one thing. So we'll say metaverse platform. So the uniformed metaverse would eliminate the redundancies and inefficiencies associated with maintaining multiple separate platforms. Again, this idea of locked or ununified metaverse platforms. So the open unified metaverse tying a lot of metaverse platforms together. This would lead to lower costs for both users and developers and a more streamlined economy. And I'm going to argue here, which they didn't put. I'm going to argue that it's more reach. You're right now you're developing for this metaverse platform, and now you could do the same effort or similar effort if it was open and it was unified. Could be for all of these segments. One level of development applicable for many segments. Virtual currency as well as universal asset ownership rules. The possibilities are awe-inspiring. Yes, they are. They're very inspiring. Keep in mind here again the basics of NFTs, avatars, virtual real estate, and having digital assets that can be used across multiple applications. This is not a new one. Theoretically, the concept of metaverse is just that and has been that since the early 90s when the concept kind of started getting floated. You have one set of this VR with being able to have interoperable assets from one site to another. You could even go back into things like Tron and look at things like that, where video game stylized, but ultimately that level of a tied interoperability inside a gamified environment where this concept's existed for a while, but the open metaverse is one that again we've seen OMA 3 be a big part of. Unified metaverse, organizations do exist outside of OMA 3, and I think it's an important part of being able to continue on seeing Upland grow upwards and outwards and continuing to have those connections. And we're already seeing more and more connections. We've had people say, have you seen this article? Have you seen this article? Have you seen this article? And yes, Upland is working on pairing. I think what was the one I saw them was it So Rare I saw that they were going to pair with, where there's all these different side projects that have existed over time, and there's speculation that Upland's going to be working with this partner. And when there's official announcement, I'm so happy to see them. Sometimes we see these press releases before there's things that are really solid inked. This is going to happen next month. But it is important to keep your eyes out and know these things are coming and be excited for the potential of these things being tied together in the future. And then we'll just leave the encapsulation here. At the end of the day, a unified metaverse would be more accessible to people worldwide. Breaking down barriers imposed by platform-specific requirements, it could democratize access to digital resources and experiences, ensuring that more individuals and communities can benefit from the metaverse, all that the metaverse has to offer. That's a vision that we can all truly rally behind. This was by Nikolai Kuznetsov. Close enough. Kuznetsov. And, again, I would argue it makes it sound a little bit more like it's one even flow through. I think it is one even flow through for the metaverse, but you've got to understand that platforms can have different rules. It's important that there's unified standards, so there is a way to have a gate in between different metaverse platforms. But I love the idea, and I always have this idea that individual metaverse platforms could have additional rules that are their own. For example, you talk about Sandbox and it being very voxel based, and Upland having its own type of style. When we talk about the style of what we see on Upland in the streets, and then we have these avatars that we already exist that are Ready Player Me based avatars. That's a different graphical style than the voxel style that we already see in the Sandbox. And I would love to see the Sandbox be able to continue to have an art style. If that's an art style they want to stay and get behind, I can see that art style existing after there are more immersive environments where there are near perfect models. Let's say there's even scanned models in VR where it's like Ready Player Me, but now it's my face skinned on a Ready Player Me avatar. I could see that existing alongside, again, that voxel style, because that is an aesthetic art choice. I could see there being avatars in a area in a metaverse platform that are more anime inspired. But as long as the interoperability standards exist, I could see those spaces being independent but also linked, also having ties together. I mean, I think that the focus on one set of standards is important, but we need to define that. That doesn't mean that everything is exactly the same. It just means that interoperability is expressed and written ahead, that there's a way that the blockchain for assets and for custody can be secured in between multiple ecosystems. And as long as that's the case, I think the future of the metaverse is going to be a beautiful thing. Those rules, those technical standards, they do have to be defined. They are being defined. OMA 3 is on that bandwagon. OMA 3 is working towards that. Species.io is working towards that. And of course, we already have a number of very legitimate organizations starting to build out the Metaverse Standards Forum. Again, those are big tech giants that are trying to answer this question. How do we put everybody on the same standards and protocol and making sure everything is interoperable? I like that article. I think it was fun to see. Upland did repost it, so that was key. But again, this is, I think it's an extension probably, but that profile piece, and I think it was, I don't know which Dubai, I think so. I think it was at the NFT, whatever the event was, the crypto event that was in Dubai, however many months ago. Dirk was interviewed. We did have that come out. We did see that come out a month ago or 2 months ago. And it was a fun interview to watch. It was a fun interview to see. Good bits and pieces about Upland, and the way Dirk chose to represent Upland with the street was interesting. But again, we have another writer at the street a number of months later writing an article, not specifically about Upland, but about the greater metaverse. And what's their example? What's their example about the potential of the unified metaverse? What's their example about an economy that has more than just a one-way path, that actually has interoperability potential built in, that already is starting to do so, that has an economy where players can work peer-to-peer? What's their example? And that's Upland. So it was very cool to see that mention. It was cool to see that how that was set there. So I want to stop that share, and let's see if StreamYard's working better now. It was just weird. It was weird that the stream didn't want to work. All right, share screen over here in Windows. Oh yeah, it's working now. I love it. It's so nice. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So I'm going to go take a look over here. Oh my gosh, look at that. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? The window over here. Oh, I don't know. I think we're still having issues. But StreamYard, get your stuff together. Get your stuff together so we can work together here in the immediate future. All right, there we go. There we go. I want to look at one more thing. I want to look at one more thing that's on Upland's feed, because it is fun what Upland does choose to repost. Obviously, start with the fact that they reposted something that was, I think, very impactful, a good article. But they chose to also repost. I think this is a hype video. It has to be. Is it sponsored? I don't know. I don't see anything that says it's sponsored. But let's take a look. This is definitely, like I said, this is definitely a hype video.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Upland, the metaverse that mimics the real physical world. It's a real world on the blockchain. Trade and sell assets right in the game. London is a popular thing. Let's find some
That's enough of that crap. But no, let's be honest. I do like when these hype videos, unfortunately, the level of accuracy is as good as it is. The level of depth is as good as it is. But Upland's reposting it. I do think that is something that was more than likely was sponsored. It looks sponsored. It doesn't say sponsored anywhere. But we do have a number of people in the crypto space who have been broadcasters or have, been hype men, pitchmen, who work pretty heavily with, either sponsored projects or just working on drop farming. And so they're putting out, information and putting out things to a following so that the following engages with these things for these drops. And in Upland, you could even farm referrals where you can make some profit off that. It does happen. People building piles of UPIX from, getting 15 referrals and matching 50% of everybody's referral. And they get that percent when that person gets their first deposit. So, there are all types of reasons why you want to go and hype up a project. And I'm glad that we have that project hype. I do think that when we see these hype videos, it really is a question, or it really is a matter, at least as far as I see it, it really is a matter of how accurate is the information, or what's the depth when we look at these. But it is cool. This was, and I'll reshare that post, reshare what it was. I just didn't have to watch the whole video. That's all. That's the only piece I was feeling on that. And to the creator of the video, more power to you. It's just I don't have to watch a whole hype video that has limited accuracy. But yes, I mean 30,000 DAUs, absolutely true. Real world metaverse on the blockchain, absolutely true. When we look at the lead up here, the header here, airdrop incoming. Ooh, Dolly! Airdrop incoming. Like I said, when we look at the Upland actual landing page, and we see that there's upcoming airdrop. We see that Upland repost this on the 11th. That was yesterday. Today is the 12th. This was yesterday in the afternoon or evening. That they did post this on the 11th. And look at this. I'm pointing my finger. Look at this over here. Airdrop incoming. That is huge, and that is key. That Upland choosing to repost this, with this being a post that was put out by the one and only @Doug Hype. The fact that Upland is reposting this at this time, and that this person is posting this at this time, tells me that we should be keeping our eyes out for the next airdrop, because yes, there is another airdrop coming. And there was a little challenge here by this poster. Visit my property in game, screenshot, post below, and retweet. Get between $1 and $25 in crypto. Watch the video for it. Everyone wins. Who knows? Maybe I'll go and take a look at that. You can go and check out Upland's Twitter. That's where this is. That's where this lives. That's where this lies at this moment. The Doug Hype. But again, it's Upland repost. So go in there. You can go take a look at the video. You could go do the things to get the stuff. And There wasn't specified what the crypto was, but if that crypto is Sparklet, I'll take $25 with a Sparklet. But I don't think it is because we don't have a codified value right now for Sparklet. And if this guy's trying to put a codified value, external value outside of Upland, in English, and calling Sparklet a crypto, naughty, because it's not time for that yet. But it may be by the end of the summer 2024. So we'll keep our eyes up on that. That was on my notes here for the Upland Twitter post to keep our eyes on, for news to keep out for. Otherwise, what we're looking at and looking forward to long term here, we do have a couple things definitely worth reviewing in Layer 1 Upland over the next couple days here. First and foremost, as already mentioned, as we've gone over a couple times, but as worth continuing to keep our eyes on, is Bermuda still going on. Collection reveal is this coming Friday at 9 a.m. PT. So if you do have properties that you are thinking about selling, decide if you want to sell them now as we get closer to collection reveal. You may want to take them off the market if you want to buy properties in Bermuda because you have a speculation that one neighborhood or another is going to hit collection. Now may be the time to buy those properties. Keep in mind, if we go and take a look at Bermuda, which we will in just a second, if we go and take a look at Bermuda, we do continue to have a significant number of unminted properties, which means you have the opportunity to go and mint those properties at the lowest available price. If they hit collection, they will have a multiplier attached. There will be increased in value, which could be good because it could make it a higher starting value, a higher initial mint, which means a higher dividend. Or it could mean that they're inaccessible outside of your price range. Sometimes it's nice to have a collection at the pre-mint value or the pre-reveal value. So let's take a look at Bermuda because there's still a lot there that's not yet mint. Let's see if we can get it up. Come on, Upland, you can do it. One more time for posterity's sake. And this should be the one. Good job, Cloudflare. I'm so glad you're working tonight. And we're going to pop it back up one more time just for the fun of it. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's Bermuda. I knew you existed. I knew I could find you. So if we do go back and look at Bermuda, oh, look at all those properties all over Bermuda that have little blue dots. All right. We have plenty of properties here. Let's take a look at our neighborhoods. Again, we can go and we can use our tools. We can go use our tools like Upland. We can go use our tools like Upland, and we can go and look at what our bottom of the market is, what's available, what's the lowest price properties that are minted. Or we can take a look at it graphically. We can go look at the map here. We can go zoom out. We can go turn our neighborhoods. We're in the neighborhood of Pembroke. And the neighborhood of Pembroke, I will warn you, it has some pretty higher or has higher UPX. Ooh, sneaker store. Simon NBA. 326,678 UPX available to mint if you so choose. It is 20 Market Lane, Pembroke Parish, Bermuda. It's a tag property, sneakers store, Simon NBA. That's an interesting one. And that is right in the middle of Pembroke. And if I look around in Pembroke, again, it does have a higher UPX per UP2 than some other neighborhoods. People like to keep that in mind because if they want to get higher UP2 properties, they want to have larger UP2 for their expanse, they can, focus on the stuff that has the lower UPX per UP2 pricing, but not the end of the world here at just over 300. 350? Yeah, that's all right. UPX per UP2 here in Pembroke. So we do have a number of things to look at. We got a number of these properties that are unminted. Again, is speculation high about this hitting collection as a neighborhood? No, it's not. But again, speculation is just speculation. Anything could be a collection until we know. Ooh, the Berkeley Institute. Look at this. 317,130 UPX price. That's 930 UP2 size. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Right there available for you, unminted. And again, Bermuda. Do I know anything about it? Absolutely not. But does it exist here in Upland? And could I see what their connections to Berkeley, the Berkeley we all know is? We could. But we're not going to at the moment. We could definitely see that we do have the Berkeley and Bermuda here represented, and I'm sure somebody already knows this information. We have a number of other things, tag properties, if you so like them. We have West Pembroke Primary School. Oh, look at that. It's a school. 171,864 UPX. That is an unminted property. 504 UP2. Look at that. If that is something you're looking at getting, look at all these properties that are unminted. If they hit collection, people will scoop them up. If they hit collection, the price of minting, that could go up. We don't know yet. But look at what I also see. Look at these gorgeous structures, these Bermuda structures getting started. There's some neighborhoods that have more concentration than others. Look at there, some over here, some over here. Oh, look at those getting started. So excited to see this all build out. But of course, if you are looking at getting ready for the collection reveal on Friday, it is definitely something worth continuing to look at, continuing to keep your eye on. I do recommend, thinking about what you want to do with Bermuda. If you have a strategy, thinking about it before the collection reveal. What some people do is they go and see if there's a neighborhood that hits collection, and they go and mint at the expanded collection value if they're trying to do some dividend farming. That definitely works. Keeping in mind that it can be competitive to mint those when those hit. If you have a decent amount of UPX and that's something you want to try to do, you definitely can. And the other strategy here is, if I'm here speculating, I can go in the secondary market if I so choose. I can come into an area. I can go click right here, and I can say, hey, I think that Smith's Parish is probably going to hit collection. Again, this is not my personal opinion. This is not one that I'm advocating that people follow. But if I personally thought that, I can go, hey, Smith's Parish, maybe that's going to hit collection. I think it's going to. Oh, I could buy one for $6 at 62 UP2. I'm buying it on the secondary. I know I'm not getting it at the original mint price, which was originally priced in UPX. I know that, but I'm making that choice, and that value proposition is available to me, and I choose to go and mint that, purchase that property on the secondary if I choose to do so. And I can go take a look at that property on the secondary market. I don't have to travel to the property in order to buy it. I can just go buy it from the market. Again, 62 UP2, $6. My dividend yield is going to be 123.81 as a standalone dividend right now. And again, if that's what my speculation is, I can have that. I will tell you a secret, and I don't know if it was just fun for me, but it was fun for me for sure. There was a lot of one addresses. I know TML collects ones, I collect ones as well, and there was a bunch of one addresses that were for sale on the secondary market, and people were selling them under mint in USD. And yes, I know there's a difference in the market between USD and UPX. There's no question, but they were selling them under mint for a one property. And if you ask me, a one property is something that sticks out. I like it. Again, I don't sell them. I hold them, but I like with one properties, they stick out to me. If you say, hey, I navigate to one whatever, I have a meta venture at 1 Main Street. Well, to me, typing 1 Main Street is a lot quicker than typing 16428 Main Street. Probably easier to type 1. So I like that idea. I like the way that kind of sticks out. And if I'm looking at whatever Pembroke Street, maybe at some point when I look at Pembroke Street and I look at it lined up in a column by addresses, one's at the top. Who knows? It's just fun. Also, it's something that I want to do, and I do what I want to do sometimes. And it's again continuing on with that trend. So if that's what you're looking at doing, if you're looking at buying the secondary, looking on buying on the primary, obviously now is the time to do it. On Friday, we'll have the collection reveal. Alongside the collection reveal, we're going to have the snapshot. And the snapshot is everyone who's holding on to one of those passes now, one of those Bermuda passes now, they are going to have that Bermuda pass become an opportunity. For each pass, you own an opportunity to mint a property. That mintable property is going to be something that you are going to be able to either mint or not. You need to have the amount of UPX that the mint price is. You're going to need to navigate to that property, or you're going to have to send near that property and actually go and mint that property like any other minted property. And you're going to have to do so within a period of time. That's before next Wednesday. So if you want to have that opportunity to have a property reserved for you, you're going to want to go and buy one of those passes on secondary at the legit shops. That is something where they are sold out. The Upland sold all of the ones they were going to sell at $4.99. But that opportunity is still available to those who buy them on the secondary and hold on to them at 9 a.m. PT, between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. PT on Friday. Then, like I said, on Friday with the collection reveal, the properties that are going to hit collection that aren't minted, they get held. They have their prices increase. So they have their prices multiplied by whatever the collection value factor is, the coefficient is, the value goes up, and then they go back on the market to mint. We have a little bit of frenzy right after the reveal for properties that got left on the market, on the open market at city floor, because your rare is not worth city floor anymore. It's worth quite a bit more theoretically. So, maybe you made a mistake by leaving it there. Don't leave it there. Don't be the one who makes that mistake. So we do have that all playing in, all coming down for Friday. I have one other thing I want to look at as well. Bermuda's fun and is coming up, and we're going to kind of be this, culmination of what we had from last Friday during Genesis week when we had the city reveal or city release, the initial minting. I do like that the reveal this 1 week period gives you the speculation week, people to decide what they want to mint. If it's not minted, the opportunity to sell and to buy and to hold and to kind of get ready for that surprise when you're in a vanilla piece. But the other thing that's been going on this week, and I want to put out here that I think it's kind of interesting, and I do feel strongly that it was a technical, whatever the technical glitch was or whatever the case was. We saw these three neighborhoods get sold, all three of them. They came off the market. Two of them went pending. One of them was entirely sold. But now they're back on the market. I don't know what the actual reality is. Speculation on this is somebody clicked on them to go buy them, and they weren't able to do so. For whatever reason, transaction failed. They didn't have enough currency. Maybe it's possible because the way these work when you're trying to do an Ethereum transfer, the way it works is it has to go in query, and you can technically start the process, make it look like it's reserved for you as it's querying your balance. So somebody may have tried to buy these without actually having the Ethereum, without actually having the right amount. So it's very possible it was that simple. There may have been a technical glitch with somebody having the right amount and it not going through. I don't know if that's the case. Again, it is very possible that someone tried to buy this without having the correct amount of Ethereum. Go figure. But we do have these neighborhoods for sale. This is a pretty cool thing that was brought up at Genesis Week, and I want to show these because these are still available. Ooh. This was brought up at Genesis Week as being something that Upland has created so that people who do have communities already, who are trying to build communities, who are trying to carry on and expand what's going on in whatever project they have and bring it into Upland. They can start with a neighborhood from scratch and start building that out. And because you built this neighborhood, Upland could work with you, will work with the person who buys these neighborhoods to have specific structures if they're going to have specific structures that are for that neighborhood. Similar to Bermuda, similar to whatever this magic neighborhood that D-Tech is designing for, which we've talked about as this design competition that he won. He also won design of the year. He won both. But the design competition he won, that's what it was for. It's for a specific neighborhood having a specific set of structures that had a similar theme. You could do the same thing in these neighborhoods. So we have Queens Ridge, Las Vegas, 6.99 Ethereum. Yes, that's 6.99 Ethereum at $3,700 in Ethereum. Is that a lot of money? Absolutely. Is it an entire neighborhood? It absolutely is. And if you read right here that Upland has to say about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, own the entire luxurious Queens Ridge neighborhood in Las Vegas, which features 994 properties with 45% discount from market price. So keep in mind, Ethereum, you obviously Upland's looking at the Ethereum's US dollar base or value as of today. And they're comparing that to 1,000 UPX per US dollar. Okay, you can do that. We could say for sure that the market exchange between the two, well, it's not fair to say the market exchange. We could say that when you compare the two, and if I could buy a similar property in USD versus UPX, there could be a larger margin of difference than that 45%. There is in some neighborhoods. There is not a singular and unified difference because we do have properties in some neighborhoods where the USD to the UPX variance is a lot less than 45%. In some cases, it's more than 45%, to be fair. However, even though Upland's giving you this discount and calling it a discount, which it is a discount, there is a value in buying the entire neighborhood. You could argue that it opens up the possibilities and probabilities in a different way. You could sell these properties at a much higher than the original UPX mint because you're bringing a different experience to the neighborhood. You may want to have 994 properties. It would depend on your project. You may want to have 994 properties so you can build out this ecosystem. Maybe you're going to be a layer 2 developer, and maybe you want to do something very, very specific with each of these properties. So when you make your layer 2 game, whatever it is, you can have something that ties into that specific neighborhood, that requires you to be in constant control of those properties, where you can turn on and off things and build structures in a certain way, or build it so that you can have a specific racetrack, so your layer 2 and your layer 1 integrate well together. You could want to build a really specific racetrack in the area, and owning all the properties on that racetrack gives you the opportunity to control the aesthetics of that racetrack. And then maybe you, by controlling the aesthetics, you increase the value of those individual properties and you sell them. You act as a developer, and there's been a couple developments in the game of Upland that have been pretty successful. Bones Balboa, which was done by TML and Too Stupid, that was relatively successful. People were paying a significant amount of value above and beyond the mint price in order to be part of this development. And the reason why they want to be part of that development is because they built the structures in a certain way that it made an image, and that was kind of fun. So you have one in there. And then what you could do if you had a planned development like that is you could have a node, and that node could have specific activities or events, and maybe you have giveaways. And if you build that community around that project, around that development, that could be your niche in Upland. That could be something you do to build a node if it's not something that you expand a node into. And if you own 994 properties, it gives you an opportunity to start something like that from scratch. You're not going and actively buying and minting properties up. More Cheese built a node that she owned a very strong percentage of. She's sold properties, given properties away so that it can be more people having fun in a specific node. As she's built that node up, there's a lot of structures that are built in it. It's very highly built out node. It is high on the list to become a future collection in Bronxdale, but that is something that she had to do a lot of work to acquire those properties. She had to buy properties, obviously on the secondary. She had to go buy some FSAs. She had to work with people who were actively trying to mint properties on her behalf and pay a premium to buy those properties back from those individuals. So it was something that was more than just a little bit of a snap the fingers and it's done. This is a snap the fingers and done. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, mind you, but snap your fingers. Now you have your own neighborhood. Now you can decide what you want to do with it. So this is the Queen Ridge neighborhood, 994 properties, 45% off or discount off the market price. We discussed that's assuming the 1001. That's assuming UPX mint. Wynwood Industrial District in Miami, 10.79 Ethereum. Wow. It's almost $40,000. It's close to $40,000. Isn't that exciting? So Wynwood Industrial District here in Miami, that price reflects a 35% discount for market price. Again, 308 properties there total. UPX for UP2, obviously, like I said, sets that where that 40,000, I don't know what, 47, 46, 47,000, 48,000, something like that, where you do have a USD value if you do the 1001 basis, and you get a discount off that. Look at that. And then we've got one final here, Treasure Island, San Francisco. And I'm going to make an argument. My argument for Treasure Island, San Francisco is, we'll take a look right here. The discount is 20% off discount. My argument is, if you look at San Francisco as a whole, yes, this is a minted portion of San Francisco. Yes, this is a new opportunity to mint. Yes, the UPX for UP2 is set differently than other portions of San Francisco. However, 851 properties. This is very pricey. We'll look at the Ethereum price. The discount's only 20%, where the discount on the other two neighborhoods is significantly more. My argument is, because it's San Francisco, because it's Treasure Island, very specific island, well-defined. We can look at the borders. We can look at the fact that it's entirely surrounded by water. It could be your own private island. You could do a lot. There could be a lot that you do with your own private island out there, Treasure Island. You could build some type of community that doesn't yet exist. You could take your community that already exists from outside Upland, bring it in. Treasure Island is our home. You could do a lot with that. It's not cheap, but you could do a lot with that area. So it's kind of exciting to see that this exists. 20% discount. I'm going to argue that people are going to pay a premium if they have the opportunity to buy from you, pay a premium based on the fact that it's Treasure Island. They may pay a premium because it's San Francisco as opposed to being in another city. I'm going to argue that the fact that it's Treasure Island, San Francisco, a real place that has an image. It has an image in people's mind. It's been on the Upland map. It's unmintable for a long time. People have seen it. Are we ever going to get it? You could own Treasure Island, and you could have it all to yourself, or you could buy it with your community. You could buy it with your DAO. You could buy it with your organization for 19.56 Ethereum. It's not cheap. It's not easy, but it could be done. And like I said, I'm going to argue that even though it's a 20% discount as opposed to 45% discount, as opposed to 35% discount, even though the fact that there is a difference between UPX and USD, which we can definitely agree on, I think that it is something that is worth investing in anyways, because if you're in the position to have 19.56 Ethereum and you have a project you're working on, I think that any of these neighborhoods, they could be your pathway to bring your layer 2 into Upland and have that tie if you really want to have your own neighborhood in Upland to tie to your layer 2. If you want to build your own neighborhood up and tie it to multiple layer 2s, where Uplandia has these projects where people can build these whole campaigns, these large campaigns, or build the whole expansion around a neighborhood. They build these expansions with multiple campaigns inside of a specific neighborhood. You could do that if you control that entire neighborhood. It lets you do some special things when we talk about pairing with a layer 2 project. There's other layer 2 projects that you could pair with as well, and maybe you could take that one neighborhood and build it in a certain way and keep putting it into multiple layer 2s. And again, if that is your prerogative, if you are that type of community builder, you now have that opportunity. Not a cheap opportunity, but now it is actually there. So looking forward to seeing how these sell. Taking a look here. Swarley, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. It would be very sweet to own one of these bundles, but the money tree has died. Swarley, the money tree is dead. I'm so sorry. But 19.56 Ethereum, that's bigger than my money tree has ever been. I don't know if I've ever had that type of disposable income. But that is something, like I said, if you have a project, if you have the USD, if you have the Ethereum sitting there in a pile, and you're like, hey, what do I do with this Ethereum? It could be a neighborhood. What's up? What's up, Swarley? What's up, Dopest crew? It's good to see you. It's good to have you here. It is late on a Wednesday here in the U.S. in the East Coast, so I am going to turn things around and essentially say Bermuda is going to be this coming Friday. I'm going to remind people that we are just coming out of the hangover of Genesis Week, Genesis Live. It does take a little bit to get that kick, get things kicked back up and continuing on. We do know that Paris is coming up as a city. We do know that the Olympics are coming up in late July. I think that could be a moving force here for us. I know that we have Matilda Studios working on launching Gun Tech 2, and they've got some other things coming on. We're going to see them drop some new pieces and take a look at some new things. And I think I had seen a couple things with Matilda talking about potentially bringing about in the not so distant future, potentially bringing about some other things into the game of Upland. Potentially, I saw them even posting about bringing in wearables, and we don't have wearables partners. Upland's done it, but layer 2 partners haven't come in and done them on their own yet. So that's kind of cool to see that potentially sitting in the wings. It's exciting to know that we have other layer 2s that are working and continuing developing, even ones that are not directly tied or official, things that we don't have official Upland announcements from. So we know that those are in the progress of working here. We know that the first experience tied to a monument, that's coming, that runner is going to be coming, and is going to be coming in the not so distant future. So we have a lot that we can keep our eyes on that could pop out of nowhere and be there for us, but expect it to be a slow week for the next couple of days. Bermuda is going to be kind of the focal point, and always be ready for surprises, because we are headed into the end of the second quarter, and boy, is it nice to finish off a quarter with some surprises here, especially since it's Genesis week or Genesis month, especially since we are in Genesis season, especially since we have so much promise for the rest of 2024, including this idea of planes, and including the idea of the Sparklet listing. including the expansion of racing. Go figure. We've seen the beta. We know that there's going to be boosts. We just haven't had them in Layer 1 Upland yet. So there's a lot that's coming, and I'm looking forward to all of it. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. We are here live in the Upland Cafe, live on Twitter, live on YouTube on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7:30 p.m. PT in the Upland Plaza. And of course, I'm going to start saying this because I want you to do it for me. I want you to do it for other broadcasters. I want you to do it for other Uplanders. We have this really, really, really cool feature. We have seen it where you can say, follow me on Twitter. Please do. If I put out a new video, you see when it comes out. If I go live, you see when I go live. I like that. It saves people saying, oh, I didn't know you were live. If you're following, it makes it easier to see that. On YouTube, same thing. When a new video comes out, easier for you to see that, of course. Obviously, with daily video plus interviews that are fun along the way. But something that I am really excited about, and I've kind of already talked about it a couple times, but I'm going to keep mentioning it, is that we have this new functionality here. I've got 147 people following me. I'm following 114. I'm doing a pretty good job of going back and following the people who follow me. I like to do that. But it's also nice for people to follow the people who they think have interesting things to say, or they think they want to know what they're buying, what they're selling. If you're following someone like Banana because you know that he does a lot to follow collections and does a very good job of city mints, of actually minting for himself and picking up properties that might be in collection. Again, based on his speculation, not based on knowledge, nobody knows, but based on his speculation alongside research. If you want to see what these players are doing, you can follow them. And what you're going to see, and you come back over here, and you go click on this magic disc guy, and you're going to see this over the Upland chat. And I can go into my following. I can see all these things dropping in here. And then we see one more thing that I really like. I'm glad it pops right up in my face. Here it is. This is my post. So just like my Twitter, just like my Facebook, if you still have Facebook, just like my MySpace, if you're really, really old like me and you're still trying to live the past and pretend that you still have the past there for you, you could go and you can post your wall here. And I could put this new post out. And instead of just being like a wall post, which there is a feed, so it's kind of like a wall post, but instead of just being a wall post, it's also a push post. So if I go back here, I see all these push posts. These are people that I'm following. This is Sleepy Dan, ready to rent Spark for your next building. What is your offer? Let's make a deal. I'll be honest. There's a lot of services out there. Again, no problem here, Sleepy Dan. But there are a lot of services out there with Spark Rental. This person here, Sleepy Dan, who I happen to be following, is looking for people to rent his Spark. So you could go here. You could go make comments. You could go do this right here. This is something beautiful. Somebody puts a post out, and you say, I want to go make a comment here. That's great. I can go do that. But here's the better thing than making a comment, because now you're making a public comment. Watch this. Sleepy Dan. Here's his profile. Here's all of this. I can go and do this. This is more important. I can go send him a message. Sleepy Dan, I really like the idea of renting some Spark from you. Boom, done. So this is a huge potential of having this built in. This is integrated into messaging in Upland. That's nice and fun. And we have private messages on Twitter. Yeah, we do. But this is integrated into messaging in Upland. This is integrated into, again, I post and then I can see my follow feed here. I have my feed here, and this is what I love about my personal feed. So my activity feed, in addition to telling me who I'm following when I follow someone new, because I got a bunch of new follows that I went and followed some people today earlier, I can also do my own posts. So these are some posts that I put out yesterday. But now I can come down here further, and these are purchases I made yesterday. So if I'm trying to keep track of my own activity because I go on a spending spree and bought 7 or 8 or 15 properties, or I minted 20 properties in the city of Bermuda on Friday, which I didn't do, but I could have. If I had minted 20 properties in the city of Bermuda last Friday, I can come back over here and I can see, look at all these things. I can see these properties that I minted, and I can go and take a look at them. So I just minted that property, and poof, I can go look at that property. I want to go look at this property over here, 6 Tatum. I go look, I bought 6 Tatum. And I can go over here. I said I bought a bunch of ones. Here we go. Here's 1 West Park Lane in Pembroke. I can see this. Boom, look at that, look at that, look at that. It is pretty. Oh, look at that! My property card here for Bermuda. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that lovely? Oh, I love it. But I can see this. I can jump in between here. So I think that this is a powerful tool because it is the feed is for other people. I can send that out there. Other people can see it. But this feed is also for me. People have asked, how do I know what I did yesterday? I got to go in the blockchain, or I got to go and I'm going to go to UPX Land, and UPX Land can tell me my recent purchases. And yes, they can. They can pull on the blockchain. They can do a call. They can see what you did recently, and they can give you that information, or they can tell you what another player did. But right here, isn't that easy? I just bought 10 properties, let's say. I can go look at each of those 10 properties. I'm also telling all the people who are following me what's going on with those properties. What did I just do? What did I not just do? So that's always fun that I can kind of do that. And I will show you one more thing here, just because this is kind of fun to see. It's fun to see the full capabilities here. Again, I've got updates. Here's all the things that people are doing that interact with my posts. So theoretically, I've got people who could be adding to my follows. I've got people who are commenting. This is mostly here. Liking and commenting on my posts. And if I'm a broadcaster, like I'm a broadcaster, this is not a bad place for me to post my videos, post my Twitter videos when I'm done completing them. So it's kind of cool to see that and get those comments. Now I want to show one other thing. I can go over here. I can go to this. I can go to, am I seeing what I want to see? There's my feed. What do I want to do with my follows? Oh yeah, here they are. So followers, again, hopefully none of us have to do this. But what we've said in the past is if we have in-game communication, I want to be really careful. And people have said this multiple times. I want to be really careful that if someone is is harassing, is mistreating, is doing something that's not fair or equitable, I can stop them from doing so. So I can stop someone from following me right here. I can go here if I'm following someone and then I no longer want to see their content, I can go and stop following them again. This is Blue Rain. I don't want to stop following Blue Rain. This is Umbrella Boy. I don't want to stop following Umbrella Boy. But if I chose to do so, if it was somebody who wasn't one of these two individuals and I didn't want to follow them anymore, I could stop following them. So this is nice that we have control over this. And if I come back over here, I can go to who I'm following. And same thing over here. I can stop following these people if I chose to do so. Same thing. I don't want to see their content anymore. I always could stop. But that big thing, being able to block people. So, I'm having issues with people following my information and stuff, blah, blah, blah. You can block them from seeing what you're putting out. That's something, again, something that hopefully you don't need to do, don't want to do. And you can do this big thing right here that says hide activity. I don't want to do that. That's not my position. That's not what I want to do. If you want to buy, sell, trade, and you don't want people to see your buy, sell trades, yeah, you could if you wanted to. If you don't want people to see what you're doing in the game of Upland, you could hide that activity. I think it's beautiful. You still have blockchain activity, theoretically hiding your layer 1 information here from the UI, so you're not sharing it with other players on the communication channel. It's still blockchain. So blockchain is still a story that still can be read. Don't think that there's a way of hiding prying eyes. Upland's going to look, other players are going to look. But if you don't want to share it in this social media aspect, you don't have to share the social media aspect. And that's a primer. That's I guess this is the second time I've looked at it, but that's the primer on what we're looking at here. And that's why this is already more robust than just simple messages. That's why this is already more robust than simple. Follow me if you want to follow me. See what I want to do if you want to see what I do. Because they've already built in some of the tools that I would like to have on a next level basis. And there's some other things I want to filter. I want to be able to say, don't show me all the 77 messages that these people are following these people. Just show me the buys and sells of the people I follow. I would love those filters. Hopefully they come up later down the line. They'd be beautiful to be there. And, since I had a recent meeting here with Pavel, please, if you could, put this on the priority list. And I'm sure there's all types of priority lists. But this is a beautiful function of the game of Upland. It's part of the Connect. It's part of the economy, if you ask me, because of the way it allows me to look at my own activity. The way it allows me to look at the market by seeing what other people that I care about are doing. If I'm in a node with someone and I see that they sold 17 node properties, I might want to send them a quick DM and see what the heck is going on. So It is part of my gameplay now. It's not just a vanity social project, and I really enjoy it. So thank you so much, Upland, for doing that. I already did a false end of the night here, but let's take the false ending and make it a real one. One more false ending here. You can remove your own follow post. Yes, you can. Lily, you can do that yourself. If you want to remove this individual post, if you buy a property and you're embarrassed about it, you can remove it from the list of what's being out there. Again, here's my community. Here's the things I'm doing. If I want to come up here and click here, I could delete this post, so it's no longer showing up on other people's feeds. You're absolutely right, Lily. That makes it even more robust. You can limit what's going out there. The filters aren't there, but you can limit what's going out to other people. And again, that cleans up your feed, but it also helps clean up what's posted out there to others. And apparently not still says him. I don't know what that's about, Swarley. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you fixed the warning system messages yet when you unfollow someone? Oh, okay. I hear you. Fair enough. I don't think they have. But you're right. You just checked, and it still seems to be the case. And of course, Lily making the joke. It's only hymns in the game. No, it's not only hymns in the game, Lily. It's all of us in here together. But for tonight, again, thank you so much for being here. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. See you tomorrow. And a big note as always. Thank you so much for listening on Discord if that's what you're doing. We did have that provenance. We did have that start. We did have that origination on the Upland Discord voice channel. So if you're there, feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours. Thank you, Chief.